Welcome to Knitting with Sherri. I wanted to teach you how to purl a stitch today. So you're going to need 2 needles and some yarn. Okay, and I've already cast on my stitches here, so I'm going to place those in my left hand. So the ones that have been cast on will always be in your left hand unless you're a left-handed person. Okay, so then you take your working yarn in your right hand as comfortably as you can, and you take your right needle. And what you're going to do is you're going to place the yarn, you're going to take it from the back and put it in front of your work. And this is how it's going to be for all your purl stitches. You're going to place that in the front of your work. Okay? It'll be in front of that right needle. I have a stitch here, and I refer to the sides as left and right. The first stitch is the one closest to the point. So, okay. You take your right needle, you're going to insert it into the right side of your stitch on the left needle. And you're going to take the working yarn and go over and under the right needle. So the yarn is between the 2 needles. Take your working yarn and your right needle, and you're going to pull down. And you want to pull that yarn pretty snug, not too tight. And when you get to the other side with that working yarn, it's going to come out as a stitch over here. You'll see when we get done, but you want to make sure you let up on that yarn so that the next row won't be too hard to knit. So what you're going to do is pull your working yarn down and your right needle down, and at the same time you're going to slide your needles on together. I'm going to make sure they stay touching at all times through the sequence here. So you're going to go down. It's sliding on that left needle, down, it's still sliding on the needle. You're going to let up on your yarn a little. You're going to pull it through, and your needles are still touching all the way through, so that this new stitch came out through the center of the stitch on the left because you went down into the right. Okay, so at this point you're going to take the right needle and pull it to the right, and you're going to pull the stitch off the left needle. So that's what it looks like. This is what it looks like that. All right, so you've made one complete stitch. Once you've pulled that left stitch off, you've completed one stitch. Okay, so now you're going to take and do it again. Working yarn in front of your work. Take your right needle into the right side of the stitch on the left needle. Am I not in the camera? Sorry, here, let me do that again. Go in on the right side. And an easy way to get in is to rock from the back to the front. Let me show you that again. Rock back and front. Because sometimes just going in, my yarn is that kind of yarn is, it separates. So you want to make sure you're getting all the strands. So you're going to go in, rock it, and then take your working yarn, go over and under. So now your working yarn is between the 2 needles. Okay, so your working yarn and your right needle are going to pull down. You're going to pull down, and you're going to want to keep your needles touching at all times through this sequence. You're going to go down and over, and that stitch came out. Did you see that? It's right there on top of that one. It's on top. Okay, so now you have your new stitch. To complete it, you want to take the stitch off the left needle by pulling the right needle to the right. There it goes. Here we go again. You're going to take your working yarn in front with the right needle. Take your right needle, insert it into the right side of the stitch on the left hand needle. Take your working yarn over and under the right needle. You're going to take your working yarn and the right needle and pull down. At the same time, your needles stay in constant contact. Take it down and over to the right. Your new stitch came out. Take your right needle and pull to the right, and the left stitch comes off the left needle. Again, working yarn in front. Right needle, in the right side of that stitch on the left needle. Yarn over and under the right needle. Working yarns between the two needles. Working yarn and right needle, you pull them down together, slide your needles on each other constantly, down and over to the right, let up on your yarn a little, and then you're going to take the right needle, this one here, and you're going to pull it to the right, slipping the stitch on the left needle off. Again, working yarn in front of your work. Right needle, right side. You can rock that in if you need to. Take your yarn, working yarn over and under the right needle. Yarns between the two needles. Working yarn and right needle, pull down. Needle staying in constant contact, down and over to the right. Your new stitch came out. You're going to take the right needle, pull to the right as the left stitch comes off. Working yarn in front of your work. Right needle, rock it in, over and under the right needle with the working yarn. Now your working yarn's between the needles. Working yarn and needle, right needle. You're going to pull down, staying in constant contact with that left needle. Pull it out, let up on your yarn. You've got your new stitch right there, and you got your old one here. So you're going to take your right needle and pull it over to the right and slip the left stitch off. So you've completed. Now you can pull your tail up if you want. That's what I'm doing here. Alright, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and purl these stitches just to show you without talking. Yarn over the right needle. Okay, here we go. And I didn't get in there, so you rock it. And if you don't make it too tight, let up on this a little after you pull it in, you let that pull that stitch a little looser. You won't have a real hard time getting in there once you get on with your work. Oh, okay, sorry. And you're gonna see I didn't get in there all the way. My stitches are a little tight, so bear with me. And if you don't make it tight, the work does go a little smoother, because you're not having to struggle to get them in there. Let's see it. Okay. All right. So there's one row, and I'm going to do one more. Alright, just so you can kind of see. Oh. Make sure your yarn is on, your working yarn's on top of your right needle or in front of your work. And again, once you start doing this, you'll really enjoy it, because I actually thought I liked the knit stitch better, but I actually enjoy doing the purl. When I get a knit and purl rows going on, I really enjoy the purl ones better. They seem to go a little smoother. And there you have it. So, and when they say turn your work, you're going to, once you get down, knitting down or purling down to the next, to that end, you're going to turn your work and turn it. So even if you were to be knitting along and you did 3 stitch and it says turn, then you're going to turn it and work back the 3 stitches. So your instructions will tell you that. But purling, every row is a garter stitch. It's kind of like, well, basically, you're going to see these bumpy sides to it. Excuse me. And, but you can do anything with just purling. And you can make a sweater, you can make, gloves, whatever you want to make. And so I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you could see it, and that you were able to learn from it. And I hope you join me for purling and knitting rows. So thank you very much for watching.